Hello, all you teachers and travelers and expats, or just people who accidentally clicked on this video. I suppose that could happen. I have decided to include in my line of videos or whatever specific videos for people who want to teach in Italy. For different things, for what that's like, different books you could use, different teaching styles, how to deal with kids, etc. And different situations that you might find yourself in if you don't know much about teaching English, or if you don't know much about Italy yet. Just generally, I have taught for two separate schools under British Institutes, which is based in Milan, and they have loads of franchises throughout Italy. As far as British Institutes goes, I think the system itself is just fine. For some reason, if you look it up online, there's somebody who has it on their blacklist or something, but I'm not really sure why. I've been working with British Institutes for, 2.5 years now, two different schools, one in Abruzzo, now in Liguria. And the system, especially the headquarters in Milan, it seems to me to be everything's above board. We do certifications for Europe. That are valid throughout Europe. I don't think they're valid yet in places like America or Australia, etc. But I think they're trying. I mean, they're trying to work on that. It's probably because we're so much newer. You know, we're way younger than the Cambridge system, etc. So a lot of people don't know British Institutes, but it's valid throughout Europe. And we all the testing is based on what's called the Common European Framework for languages, and I'll include a link to that in the description for this video. So if you don't know what that is and you're coming to Italy to teach, I suggest that you look at that, because if your school isn't using that, maybe they have their own set of syllabus, maybe they have something else they do, but Cambridge. The Cambridge testing system uses the European framework. Trinity uses it as well. So as far as I know, all the top level examining boards basically use this Common European framework. So if your school isn't using it, I'd be a little bit concerned maybe about the school itself, because most private language schools, I would think, would be using this Common European framework and be going by it. And it's a good thing to learn, because when people just start throwing things out at you like A1, A2, B1, and you're like, what? It's just helpful to know it and to know what it means. Let's see. But this video, sorry about that. That was just my general something to look up before you come if you haven't heard of it or don't know it yet. But this particular video is about all the really annoying things that you'll get from Italians, and there's too many. There's too many to list. I don't mean to be rude to Italians or anything. It's not technically. I don't blame them or anything. But there's lots of problems with the English they put out, and I'm sure anywhere you go, there's going to be problems with your students' English. Partly, there are lots of common mistakes just based on poor teaching, and I'm not sure why they haven't worked this out yet within their school systems and whatever. But people are told all the time by their teachers. Students are told by their teachers that hello is ciao, and I mean, there's so many problems with translation anyways, but they're told that hello is ciao. So you'll constantly get students when they're leaving your room saying hello, and you're like, oh, bye, goodbye, goodbye. And it's so frustrating. And like, once they've been told that hello is ciao, it's just like 5 years before you can get it out of them. So be patient with that one. Is probably the most frustrating. The second most frustrating, I would say, is good morning at 3 p.m. Because they've been told, again, it's another translation issue. They've been told good morning is buongiorno. But it's not. I don't know why anybody would think that. If you even think about the words, it's buongiorno is good day, which works, but we just don't say good day anymore unless you're Australian. So anyways, if you work out and say what's good in English, what's morning in English, and then they think, oh, buona mattina, you know, like, again, that is another thing. That is going to be 5 years worth of teaching before you beat it out of them, sort of thing, because they've all been told that good morning is buongiorno. So anyways, try to get past that one. Another really annoying one is the word stop. And unfortunately, there has been a lot of influx of English into Italian. So randomly, you'll just hear Italians chatting away, and they'll be throwing in English words every now and again. It's so bizarre. But stop is probably one of the most used ones, I think, at least in our region. And the problem with stop is that a lot of times they take a word and they don't really know what the word means. So at some point, I believe somebody has been taught, or whatever, it's been taught throughout Italy, that stop means basta. And basta actually means it suffices. So they use it to say things like enough. If you're going off on your students, you'll hear a teacher go basta really loudly, and it just means that's enough. Or you'll, at the store, people will ask you, is that all? And they'll say basta. So it means that's all, it means enough, it means it suffices, etc. But they, for some reason, think that stop means that as well. And I think it's somebody at some point probably heard a teacher say stop and thought it meant basta instead of enough. Anyways, so you'll get this all the time where students are talking to you and they're going on in their conversation, and then they'll be finished. And what they should say is that's it or that's all. But they say stop, and it's so awkward. It's just like, stop what? So when you encounter that, it's really hard as well when you're teaching, if you're dealing with a student who is really low level, which happens a lot, and you're trying to explain to them that they've been taught wrong, and you have to go back through and undo what they've been taught. But the thing is, you can't really do, you know, with a word like stop, they use it all the time to mean that's all, and they actually use it when they're speaking Italian. They'll say basta, stop, and you're like, what? So anyways, that's another problem. There are loads of words though that have flowed into Italian from English. So you'll just randomly hear them chatting, and they'll be throwing out words like look or spread. The problem with it is that a lot of times Italians take on English words, and they take them on for business, or they take them on for sport, or fashion or something, because English is kind of like a luxury in Italy, and like the most educated people are fluent in it, and all that. But generally speaking, they'll take on a word like spread, and they'll use it in one sense, but they will not have any idea that it means like 5 different things, and that it's a verb and it's a noun and it, you know, whatever. So they'll take these words and they'll just randomly throw them out, and half the time they won't use them right anyways. So just get used to that. It's a problem because, as I say, Italians are just at the moment just constantly taking on English words. In fact, I mean, I work at a restaurant as well, and my boss will be reading an article, and it will just randomly say something in English, and he won't even know what it means. It'll be an article written in Italian, and they'll just throw out English words, and he won't know what they mean. I mean, that's how fast they're coming into the language, that there's loads of them out there, and people aren't even sure yet what things are talking about. People use it because I suppose it looks smarter if you're using English and Italian. So There's also, this is so frustrating for my husband and I because he's English, I'm American. There are lots of misconceptions about the difference between American English and British English. And when you're teaching English, those seem to be the only two divisions. And nobody really knows all the different accents. They generally think like Americans have one accent and that's it, and that English people have one accent and that's it. And they think that the London accent is like the Queen's accent and that's it. Like all English people speak like the Queen. And that all Americans, I don't know, speak like Obama or something. So anyways, and for some reason they have this idea that American is full of slang and that Americans are really difficult to understand. And my husband finds it so frustrating because, of course, if they spoke with somebody from South London, Italians wouldn't even know they were speaking English, let's face it. When they hear, Italians have never heard a person from Northern Ireland. And when they hear a person from Northern Ireland, they're like, what is this? I don't understand anything they're saying. If they heard a person from the Deep South, okay, let's face it, when my husband hears a person from the Deep South, he doesn't know what they're saying. And they don't know what he's saying either. So it's really confusing, and it's really frustrating to constantly get this idea that Americans are so hard to understand, and English people are so easy to understand. And I don't know, there's lots of problems there, and it's just like a general Italian conception that Americans are full of slang. English people don't have any slang. It's ridiculous. Americans don't even know. The thing about English is that in British English, they know all the American slang, and then they have their own slang that Americans don't know. But so actually, I think if you could tell them that, if you could try to explain to your students actually that British people probably have more slang than Americans, and Italians would be lost with most English people that were not received pronunciation. But good luck with that. I mean, as I say, it's this idea that they have, and what can you do about that? So that is my slight rant on some issues that you're going to come up with, that you're going to be like, oh my goodness. And I feel almost like after having been here, I mean, I'm sorry, I've only been here 2.5 years. I'm not an expert or anything. And I'm sure there's loads of things that I don't know, and that there's loads of people out there who've been here 20 years and they know so much more than I do. But anyways, we're hoping that Italy moves along and keeps learning and all that. But if you're coming here and it's your first time sort of exposure to Italian culture, etc., those will be things that just drive you up the wall. And there's so many things. So I'll make other videos on pronunciation, etc. But try to remember every country is going to be the same. They're going to have problems, and it's not like language learning is not a perfect thing. It's not an exact science. You sort of have to go with the flow and just be patient with people. But be on the lookout for those things. All right, bye.